Okay, I welcome you to this course. We're going to speak about Oracle networking today. And of course, we know networking is very, very important in the IT industry. I just want us to understand that it is vitally important to understand what networking is all about if we are administrators. The end user does not understand the network terms, but you who are going to go higher into database administration will have to understand networking terms. Okay? Now, I'm just going to browse through some very basic things, and I just want to understand that generally speaking, we have a model of networked objects within a cloud. Okay, let me just use this to illustrate the cloud here. Okay, and within the cloud, you have network resources. Okay, various computers. All right, computers, and normally a client would normally want to connect to and access a resource on the internet. Okay, if you connect, for instance, to yahoo.com, you are actually accessing information on Yahoo in a remote computer. Okay, and the only way you can go up to access your emails and information on Yahoo is to go through the network. Okay, there has to be a connection established from your computer, from your cellular telephones through the network. Okay, and it's very important we understand this stuff. You talk of any type of product, you could go up to talk about things like Facebook. You must have an account somewhere on the internet. A computer on the internet will store all your information, your Facebook your information. Okay, if you have an email account with Gmail, okay, Gmail will have a computer somewhere, on the net, and your client, which is your computer or your cell phone or your tablet, would connect to that resource on the internet. Okay, and it's just important that we understand that this is done through what we call networking. Okay, there are certain protocols and there are certain ways a computer connects to these resources through the network. You have to establish a network. You must understand that all computers are identified by what we call the IP addresses. Okay, your computer might be called server one or whatever, but in reality, that is a mask. That name masks the real technical name, which is what we call an IP address. Okay, an IP address normally goes in the form of, I can just give an example here, 192.168.1.2. This will give an example of an IP. Now, for instance, on my local machine right now, I might want to find out what my IP address is. Okay, if I do something like this on my local machine, okay, IP config, it should give me an idea of what my IP address is. Okay, now this format here is the latest format, the IPv6 format, which is going to take over the IP naming, naming method in the future. It's more complex and it gives space for more computers, supports more computers within the net. But actually, we have the IPv4 addresses, which has been more popular up to date, but gradually, be rest assured that computers are going to move over to the IPv6 address. Okay, in this lesson, we'll just stick to the IPv4 addresses, and my computer says that this is my IP address. Okay, and if I look at my environment here, okay, let's look at my environment. I'm trying to get a variable here that points to my computer name. My computer name is called laptop. Okay, that's my computer name here. And if I ping that computer name, notice that it gives me the IPv6 address, okay, which is the IP of my computer. Okay, I can configure my computer not to listen on the IPv6 address, but to listen only on the IPv4 address. Okay, so notice that the name is only a mask. The server name or your computer name is only masking on the network. It only masks your IP address. On the network, you are actually recognized by your IP address. All right. So without wasting time, we're going to look at how all this relates to Oracle, our connectivity with Oracle. Just bear in mind that when you connect to Oracle, let me just give a new something here. Okay. When you connect to a database server, there are certain things you must understand. Okay, let me just quickly give you a rough diagram here. I'm not an artist, but just bear with me. Okay, here we have a computer. Okay, and within this computer, you have a resource called a database. All right, and you have your client computer, which is on the network. All right. Normally, what you need to do is to establish a communication from your client computer to your database, isn't it? And the only way this can be done is through the use of the IP or the IP address, okay, or the computer name of the server where your database resides, okay. If, for instance, this server here is called, let me clean that up, okay, it's called server 1, okay, and my database is identified by a service called DB1, okay. I have to connect to this server, and what I'm going to simply do is to use the SQL Plus utility, which is actually a software that is installed on your local machine. Okay, Oracle supports what we call SQL Plus. You can get it by installing your Oracle client on your desktop. Okay, normally in a real working scenario, you don't have databases installed on your local computer. When you go for consultancy with a big firm, okay, with an IT firm, what happens is that they give you a computer, or you use your computer, they connect you to their network, and they actually give you a client. If you don't have it already installed on your computer, they give you a client installation, okay? And with that client installation, now you can connect to vary, a group of servers within that network, okay? And normally, how do we connect to a server? You have the SQL Plus utility, okay? Then you use the password of the user password. I'm going to call the user USR and the password, okay? Then go to say at the name of the server, okay? Then you're going to put this slash here for the DB, okay? It's very important you understand this stuff here, all right? So what am I doing? Through my SQL Plus utility, I'm using what we call Easy Connect. Easy Connect, okay? Generally speaking, when you have Easy Connect, let me just give a bigger view. When you use Easy Connect, all right, you connect with the username, the password, at the name of the machine. then you put a slash with the service name. Okay. Now, if I use this method, I assume that we are using a default port of 1521. Okay. Okay. Oracle assumes that you are using a port of 1521 because that is the default port. Okay. Now, this means that your database must be listening here on a port 1521. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to run into errors. All right. Let me put that under. That's the stop under here. Okay. This is okay. Now listen. Before you can use a name called server 1, okay. Before you can use a name called server 1, what happens is that okay. Notice that I didn't put the port here in this example because I'm using the default port of 1521. But if you put the port here, if you want to specify the port, in this case it will change to SQL plus user password. This lesson is very important because these are the real life situations you encounter. Some people have problems connecting. You might have to help some of your users, some consultants, developers to connect to their databases. So you have to be the one to teach them how to do it. Okay? So this is how it goes. And then when you connect in this manner, okay, dot 1521, okay? Like I told you, if you have 1521 as your port, you don't really have to use it. But in real life situations, the port might not be 1521, okay? It might be 31, okay? If it's anything other than 1.521, you must specify the port. Otherwise, there's no way, Oracle would know how to connect you to, okay? So what happens is that when you do this, there's what we call a listener, okay, on your database server that listens for incoming connections. All right. Without the listener, there's no way you can connect to your database. Let me just give just this little funny thing here, like the listener. I call this the listener here. Okay, this is going to be the listener here. This is the star. It's going to be the listener. The listener actually will listen for connections, from this port here. On this port 1521, and when it gets the connection, it relays you to what you specify as your server, as your database. In this case, it's DB1, okay? So without the listener started on your server, there's no way you can connect remotely to a database. Always remember this, okay? If you try that, you will get an error. I'm going to give you an example. Right now, we have a database that is connected on a network, okay? And I'm going to say SQL plus. First of all, I'm going to ping to see whether I can get to this machine. I'm using the IP address of the machine, and it's working, okay? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect to a server because let me quickly connect to that database here. I got my PuTTY because this is a Linux server. I'm going to connect using my Oracle user. Okay, I'm going to put in the password. Okay, this is the user with which the database is installed. I'm going to change the settings to make it bigger so you can see you have a better view of what I'm doing here. Appearance, okay. Change this to 16. Okay. And let me just shift this top a little bit to the right, so that we can have a better view. Okay. So what happens here is that I'm going to identify the databases that are running on this computer. and I can see a couple of databases here. And what we are interested in is actually this server here. You can see the owner, the owner here is Oracle. Okay, and in this instance, you can actually check on all the services, all the listeners that are running. Watch this command here. First of all, I checked on the database that are running. Now I'm going to check on the listeners that are running at this moment. I'm going to grab TNS. And you can see all the listeners that are running right now. Okay. All right. And I'm going to do listener CTL status. Listing now. I have to set my environment first. Okay, my Oracle home, my Oracle seed and all that. Otherwise the data I cannot connect. Okay, I do that now. Like I told you, I saved everything to a file. This is my profile. Everything is saved here. My Oracle home, my Oracle base, my Oracle seed, and the path. So you can find the commands. Okay, now I'm going to you can see the listener here. All right, and the listener is going to actually, we're going to connect through the port called 1521. Okay, and let us see how it's going to go. I'm going to connect from my local machine. Now this is a server, Linux machine, a remote. This is thousands of miles away from where we are, this computer where we are connected. Okay, and right now on my local machine, I'm going to connect to that machine, to that computer, SQL Plus. Using the network, I'm going to, let me quickly create a user I can connect with. Okay. Create user test3 identified by test3. Okay, and I'm going to grant connect to that user. All right, so I can connect from remote. So I'm going to say SQL Plus test3 password test3 at. Okay, I'm going to collect, and I'm going to now put the name of the you notice here we have the instance name and the service name. So I'm going to use the service name here, and let us see. Sorry, notice I didn't put the right password. I put test instead of test3. Okay, Oracle does not lie. So right now I'm connected because I'm using the Okay, hold on. Let me see that here. All right, 1 minute. Okay. All right, so here we are. I'm now connected to the server. You can verify by selecting instance name from the dollar instance. Okay. No, it doesn't have the privilege to look at that view. I didn't give the user the privilege. Okay, let me just add some grant to him. Let me just give it a temporary grant DBA. You should never do this in the real world. Don't give users DBA. Remember this, okay? If you give your users DBA, you have all the right to mess around with your database. Okay, so I'm gonna put sys. Sorry, I have to disconnect to get the permission. Okay, I connected without the permission. Now I have to spectac $v instance. Okay, so you can see it. So you can see I'm connected to the right database. This is from remote. All right, I'm not. So you must understand that most of your connections when you work on client side will be from your local computer, from remote. What you will be doing is connecting to remote servers. Okay, this is your client. You have to use your SQL Plus utility, and with your SQL Plus utility, you now make your connections. Okay, now you can also make connections with other utilities like JDBC, other clients, but always remember that you're going to still always need the user, the password, the name of the server, and the port. Okay, very important. And now this, what we're going to do is that, like I told you, by default, 1521 is used as the port. Okay, when you install your database on a server, all you need to do is just start a listener start automatically. The listener begins to listen on the port 1521. This is the default value. Okay, and what happens is that whenever you try to connect, your listener listens for incoming connections. When it gets them, it now forwards you to the database that you requested for. Okay, if that database is listening on 1521. But remember that not all databases listing on 1521. It's very important. Okay, and I'm going to, let you understand that we're going to try to use another port right now. I'm going to create, a listener for different ports, and I'm going to show you how to make Oracle listing on that port. Okay, this is very important, listing, because in a real production environment, most databases don't use the default port. Maybe your development environment and all that kind of stuff might use the default 1521, but in the real world, most databases don't use 1521. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to create a new listener. There are different ways of creating a listener. You can use the manual method. Okay, or you can use what we call the net configuration assistant. Okay, you can go to manual and net configuration assistant, and let me just put the full name, net configuration assistant. Now remember that the net is called actually net. If you want to run it from the command line, it's net CA. Okay, remember that before you can run this, you have to have your graphical user face, some kind of tool. If you are running on a Linux environment or Unix environment, you must have some kind of tool to enable you to utilize the graphical user interface. On Windows, you don't have that problem. Okay, so right now I've already run my Xming server. Okay, this is the utility we are using to create the graphical user interface, and I'm going to, I'm already logged into the database, into the server rather, the computer, the remote. I'm going to clear this right now. I'm going to run the net configuration assistant. If you don't know how to install NetMing, you might just go to the site. Always feel free to send me an email for questions and all that. Okay. Let me put this down for now. Praise God. So I just want to show you some Sorry, let me just quickly go back there. Go back to the course home, sorry. Documents. Go to documents. Then you see what they call general documents. Please, 1 minute, please. Okay, course day 1. Connectivity, okay. In the connectivity folder, you will see how to connect with your SQL plus utility. This is an SQL document, SQL plus document. Okay. You see also how to connect. That is very important if you are new to Oracle. How to connect with your SQL plus utility. How to connect with your SQL developer tool. How to connect your Linux to PuTTY. Okay. I just want you to try to get that. It's very important. All right, and I'm going to still add some more documents. Okay, you're going to see Xming. All right, this is a document here. You can see all these are documents that have got to do with, installing the database and all of that. Okay. If you open this document here on Linux, you might see something on Xming here. Let me try that. Open it up. Let's see what we have here. Okay. So I'm going to update that folder because normally you should have Xming connectivity on that folder there. I'm going to just quickly go back here and see. Yep. Okay. I have a particular document for Xming. All right. Here. Okay, so we tell you this. We take you through the steps for downloading your Xming and installing it. Okay. And this should be in the folder for connectivity. I'll update that shortly. Okay. So we're going to go back to this something. Without the Xming, there's no way I would have been able to bring out this graphical user interface. Okay. I ran Net Configuration Assistant on Linux. Remember, my environment is already set. And I'm now going to create a new listener because I want to change the default listening port from 1521 to another one. I want to teach you how to do it. It's important. You must know it because you're going to, even just up to days ago, I had to solve some problems, very complicated problems on rack environments, real application cluster environments. Okay, so you just have to have the basics, otherwise you can't go into that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm going to call this listener DB underscore DB. Next. All right. So this one already exists. What I'm going to do, I'm going to DBA server 1. Next. TCP is the protocol. And I'm going to use another port number. Okay. Okay. I made a mistake. I pressed next, and it tells me automatically that the port is already used by another listener. So I'm going to use another port number. Okay, before you use another port number, remember to make sure that your system administrator or whatever has actually opened that port. If you have a firewall installed on the operating system level, that port might be blocked. So you might have to verify with your system administrator. Okay, how do I know if port is blocked or not? I can use the telnet command. Okay, that's what we call the telnet. If it is installed, I'm not sure it's installed, but let me just try it out. Telnet. I'm going to test whether the port 1536 is okay. Telnet 1536. Remember, this is very important. I'm testing a port. This is common day-to-day activities. I'm testing whether a port is open. Okay, it says Telnet is not a recognized, that means it's not installed on my physical computer here. So I cannot verify using Telnet, okay? But normally, if you have Telnet installed on your computer, it's the best way to kind of verify, okay? Let's see whether I can just install it on the fly, because these are the things that you meet in the real world, and I really wish to. Okay, it will require me to restart the computer, so I'll just leave that for now. Anyhow, 1536 is going to be the port we're using, and I'm going to say next. Would you like to configure another listener? I'm going to configure 2 listeners. I'll say yes. Okay. Add. No, I'm going to call it listener underscore DBA server 1B. Okay. Next, TCP protocol. And I'm going to put this port as 1537. Okay. So I'm configuring a listener to listen on 2 ports, 1.1, 1536 and 1537. Will you want to start it? Just that you want to start it. I'm going to say yes. Let me start this one here. Then finish. So I finished configuring up. I now configured 2 listeners. Let us see whether the listeners are on. I can do PS on Linux. I can grab the TNS process, grab this TNS string. Sorry, grep. And we can see that the one of them is up. This is the one we just created. You can see the time, 11:36. This is the listener we just created. And this listener listings on the port. You can try it out. Listener, okay. GTL status. We're going to learn this shortly. There are different commands. It's listed on the port 1536. Okay, now I'm going to, the other listener has not been started. Remember, we created one called B. So I'm going to do the lsnrctl command, which is the command interface you use for the command line interface to manage your listeners. Okay, I'm going to say start. Okay, so it has started. I noticed that it is listening on 1521. Also observe that it does not support any service here right now. Even though the listener is on, if I try to connect to that listener, let us see what will happen. Okay, 1536. So it does not know it. I cannot connect there. I try 1537. It still does not know it. So what's the problem? The problem is that it has not been, because it is not the default port, we have to actually change a parameter, change a parameter, an Oracle parameter to point to that listener, to that listener point. We call it local listener. Okay. If I connect right now to my Clear, I connect to my database DBA server 1, connect as 6 DBA, and I say show parameters local underscore listener. You see that it's blank here. The value is blank because before now we've used the default value of 1521. Now I have to change this value so it matches, the value for the local listener in this. So it goes like this: alter system set local listener equal to, if I wanted to listen on one port 1537, I'm going to do this description. I'm going to copy this whole string here. It's going to tell me that so if I say show parameters local listener now, so it gives me this string here. What happens is that I have now indicated that this is the listener. Okay, the listener on this computer will listen on this port 1537. Okay, so if I now try to connect from remote, it's supposed to see, it answers me now. And I say select instance name from, sorry. See, I'm now connected, and because I changed the port, if I try to connect the way I connected before, it will fail. You see, because it's no longer using 1521 as the port. Okay? You have to go back to listen carefully to this message, to this video. I have changed the port now to listen on 1537. Now, you can actually cause your database to listen to on multiple ports. Apart from 1521, I can cause it to also listen on 1536. Remember, we created another listener called, we created two listeners. Let me just do the PS. These are the two listeners. We created this one, listener underscore DBA server 1, and we created listener underscore DBA server B. Okay, B was the one that listens on 15237 on the port 1537, and listener underscore DBA server listens on the port 1536. How do I know? You can just use the status command. Status of the LSN RCT. The status command will tell you what your database or what your listener is all about, the services it is supporting, and the port on which it gives you general information on the listener. Now, I can also find out the services that are related to by running the service command, lsnrctl service, the name of the listener, and it tells you that the listener supports no service because we have not configured it yet to listen for connection. Now listen, for B, if I run this for B, which you've already, you can see it tells you that it's listening, it supports an instance called DBA server 1 and a service called DBA server 1. This is the one that we added to the init aura. The init aura file, that's the server parameter file. Okay? Somebody might ask you, what is the server parameter file? When we all did the alter system set local underscore listener, we actually, now that command that we did, there's something wrong with that command that we did. Can somebody just guess? If I'm to restart my server right now, what I did is going to be lost because I did not save it to the SP file. I only, copied it to memory, the command. Okay, so let us quickly alter system, set, let me just say show parameters local listener. Okay, this is what we did just now. Remember that this is not saved to the SP file because we did not specify scope equals to SP file. Okay, it's very important that we understand this stuff. Okay, and hold on there. All right. So now what we are now listening on port 1537. I can change it to listing on 1537 if I set this value here to be 1537. Okay, but I can also make it listing to listen on two ports at the same time. What I can do is I can say the alter system set local listener is equal to I'm going to allow this, it's going to listen on that, and I'm going to put comma, and I'm going to add this again. Okay. So it's now listening on two ports, on this port 1536 and 1537. So if I connect now from either 1537 or 36 is connected. Okay. If I connect to 2137, it connects. Okay. Now if I connect now to 1521, what happens? It fails because it's not set in the. But I can add that also. Other system, I can do this. But it's always good. It's best practice not to overdo these things. But just for the sake of learning, I can tell you that I can add another one. I can add 21. Okay. So right now it also listens on 21. So if I go there and now say SQL plus now connects, because I've added these ones to this local listener parameter. Okay. So if I want to save this to my SP file so that when I reboot, when I reboot tomorrow, and when I reboot, it retains the information. What I can do is to do this. Scope equal to both. Okay. So it's both in memory and both on SP file. It's a hot parameter that can be changed on the file. Okay. Now, if I want to remove all of this now, and I want it only to listen on 1521, which is the default, you don't need any of this anymore. And what you can just simply do is to unset it by doing this. If I say show parameters, what happens? An empty value here because we're not going back to the way it was before. So right now, what I just need to, if I try to connect to the way I did before using the other ports, it will fail. But if I try connecting to 1521, it will succeed because that is the default. You don't need to specify it. Okay. Okay. If I try again and I don't put 1521. Still works because that's the default. Oracle knows is default. Okay, but in the real world, don't use 1521. Maybe in your development environment, you can use 1521 and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so remember that you can use Easy Connect, but also if you have lots and lots of servers like we have in the real world, okay, in the real world you can be in a company that manages hundreds of database servers. You cannot go all the time and start putting password, name, and all that kind of stuff. What you can do is to actually save all of this in a central location, okay, somewhere on a server. Okay, you can save it using LDAP. You can save it. You can copy the TNS names files to different users so that everybody has a way to connect, okay, without having to put in all this information all the time. All this is not needed. All the information about the IP address, about the port, about the server name is not needed when you use the TNS names method, okay? First of all, let me just quickly show you some good things, important things. Okay, under the Oracle Home, clear. Remember the Oracle Home? Under your Oracle Home, you have a directory called Network. Okay, and under the network, you have a directory called Admin. Okay, and when you normally here, you should be able to configure the listener URL file or the TNS name file. Okay, now let me just look what the contents of the listener URL file. You see, all the time that we were using the graphical user interface, what happens is that Oracle carefully created these things for us here manually, okay? First, and if I wanted to create another listener that would listen, I could just copy that. And I'll paste, copy this. I paste it here, and I can say listener DB server 1C, okay? Okay, then I can give a new port 1538, okay? Then I can start that listener, not waste too much, okay? We call it C, is it? I can start that listener. Since I started, and it started on port 1538, okay? So your graphical user interface just simply makes it easier for you. As human beings, we can make mistakes. We can put some commas, some dots, some whatever, and you begin to have problems. You don't know where it's coming from, and you waste time. So if you can use the graphical user interface, it's always better, okay? Always better. All right. I'm showing you another graphical user interface called the Net Manager. Okay. Oracle Net Manager, you can use this one to configure some more advanced options. Okay, but let us talk about the local listener here. Take quite some time, yeah? Okay. Let us it's a more sophisticated version of the net configuration assistant. I would say in the real world, the net configuration assistant is more used, okay? So you see, you can see it from this file here. You can see listeners, the list of listeners. Can you see them? Listener DB server 1, listener DB server 1. See, all these are the listeners we just configured, okay? And here, server names, these are the TNS names. You can see we have one called DBA server 1, we have Arman rep, okay? And we can test this out. When you touch it here, it will give you, the configuration of the TLS names. This one here uses a TCP, protocol. This is the name of the server. This is the name of the port, okay? And if you go down here, this is the one we just configured. You see all the information you need about that on the left. You see, we configured it on 1538, and all that kind of stuff. And you can create a new one. You can just simply put here, and you press that. You can put the plus here, create. Okay, create listener, and you're going to put the name of the listener, and you go on and on and on and on. It's virtually the same thing. Okay, I just wanted to demonstrate to you another means of, another way you can create, a listener and a service name, TLS names. Okay, for instance, now I touch name server. Okay, add. Then you can put in. I can just test just to show you the name of the service, Internet Protocol TCP. It's virtually the same thing, and then the name of your host. What's the name of our host here? I put this DBA server one here. Okay, next. I put the service name as DBA server 1. Connection type default. Okay. Dedicated server. You could leave it at the default, which is actually dedicated server. And you want to test the connection. You might go into error because you don't have the password of the user to test it with. But I'm going to put, because we don't have Tiger and Scott installed, I'm going to change the login here. Remember, we created a user called test what? Test3. Okay, so I'm going to test it with test3. Test3. Okay. The connection test was successful. Okay. So we have a new. This was done on my Linux environment. So I'm going to close this now, and I'm going to test it. Test that with the name of the connection was XXXXX. Okay. Save the change. Okay. I'm going to see clear. How do I test the connection? TNS ping. Well, that's not the name of the database connection string. Now, when I say TNS ping, it's going to look into the TNS names.aura file and check for that string. So I'm going to say XXX because I think we just did that. Yeah. Was it XXX or XXXX? Okay, XXXX. Okay, you can't lie. So you can see here that everything worked out here. All right, I can now open that file, the TNS names.aura, vi, and I'm going to cancel that name because it's quite ugly, isn't it? So I'm going to cancel XXXX, and you can do that through the graphical user interface. Okay, if I say TNS ping now, what happens? Obviously, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so anything you do with the graphical user interface can simply be done also through the command line interface. It only makes things easier, tidier. Okay, you don't want to make mistakes copying and pasting and writing wrong characters and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so first now I'm going to, before I round up, Let me just, you must know how to use the listener CTL command. If you don't know, you say help, help. Oh, sorry. Help. Just write help. Okay. You can start it. You can start a listener with this command. You can stop a listener with this command. You can get the status of a listener. At times connections are blocked and all that kind of stuff. You can use this command to find out what's wrong. You can connect to see which services are actually running at that point in time. Okay, you can quit listener, you can reload the listener. Reload the listener simply switches the listener off and put it on. At times you need that to kind of solve problems, Instead of doing the start and the stop, when you say reload, it starts and stops on the fly. And the good thing about it is that whenever listeners are already connected to the server and you stop the listener, those that are already connected are not affected. They continue to do what they are doing. Okay, those that are affected are those who try to connect after the listener was stopped. Okay, so you can do some trace commands and all that kind of stuff. These are higher things. You can see the version and all that kind of stuff. So always try this with your little database. Everybody who takes this course normally should have a database of his own little database where you can try this stuff and pretend as if you are in a very big company or something. Because these are the things you're going to face out there in the real world, okay? So I'm going to end this course here. And if you have questions, you can always write me. There's a more advanced version of this course that will deal with shared servers, in part 2 of Oracle networking. So I say here, thank you.